Hey everyone, I'm Jen. A few people have asked how I've wrapped the stems on my button bouquets. Let me just say, it took a few tries until I was really happy with it. And the highlight of my bouquets were actually the buttons and brooches, so I was not too concerned with how the stem looked. I just wanted it to be safe, secure, and not look too funky. So the first thing I did is I got a button bouquet holder. So it's just a bouquet holder, and there was not many options that I had at my local craft store. I could either get white or cream. So here's an example of the white one, and then here's one I actually tried to make my own using blue ribbon. I didn't really like that. It just did not make the buttons pop out as much as I wanted it to. So the one thing I did first before I even wrapped my stem is I took tulle in my wedding colors, and I just made two different sizes, one in silver and one in blue. I became friends with the hot glue gun, so you'll be using the hot glue gun a lot to get your stems wrapped. You're going to layer the silver, is what I layered first on the actual holder, and I hot glued all around it. I took the smaller blue size of tulle, and then I layered that on top of the silver and also hot glued that securely in place. Make sure you let this dry, because then you're going to be using that for your stems. Second step, after making sure that my bouquets were shaped how I wanted to, I did a lot of hand shaping. I used the holder itself to help secure the shape. You're going to want to take wire, so I have a little bit of wire, even though these are already done. And you're going to want to wrap it around the base of your bouquet. So before you add the holder, make sure you take wire and you're securing it around that stem. So if this is your stem, you're going to want to make sure to wrap wire very tightly around there. That way if you added any bouquets at the last minute or any buttons at the last minute, you'll make sure that they're secure into your bouquet. So make sure you wrap that, and you're going to tie that off or just keep wrapping until you use all of your wire. So I'm just going to keep wrapping this, making sure it's tight. That way if this was my stem, they're all going to be in place. So those last minute buttons I added are secure. Now you're going to take floral tape. Now floral tape, it's rather sticky. If you pull it too tightly, it is going to break apart. But you're going to want to take this and wrap the wire all the way around it. So start at the very tip. You'll have to imagine this is where all the buttons are. So wrap this wire, especially those very sharp points. You're going to want to wrap those in multiple layers to make sure they're not going to go out and stick whoever's holding this. So like you said, you're going to wrap the whole layer, and I found that this was helpful, especially because I could pull it tight and it's going to hold that wire very, very tight and make it not as thick in spots. So the tighter you pull it, the better. If it happens to break, the great thing about it is it's sticky, so you can just start right back over, wrap it a few more times, and keep wrapping. Like I said, you can use multiple layers. You can just keep wrapping until you feel that it's tight enough and that you have all those sharp points very well taped over. Also, if you want to make sure that it is shaped better, like I said, this has a little bit of odd shape to it. So you can wrap it a little bit thicker in spots to even it out. Once you're done with that, just break off the tape and throw it aside because you won't need it again. And the next thing you're going to need is you're going to want to take hot glue gun. Once again, we're going to use that a lot. And look at the base. So this is the base. I've already cut it once. And there's still a lot of really sharp points to it. And especially if you have any flower girls and you have bouquets for them, you don't want them to get poked. I used needle nose pliers, so these are very sharp points. So I'm going to take my hot glue gun, and I am going to glue like crazy and make sure to glue this so that it is covered in hot glue. So this is going to form a barrier against those sharp points and any little fingers or even your own fingers. So like I said, I'm going to hot glue like crazy. I know it probably looks a mess, but we're going to cover it. It's going to form that barrier against those sharp points. At this point, you'll want to have chose a ribbon. It's a thick ribbon it is wired on the edges. It also has a little bit of give to it. Since I'm going to wrap this vertically, I'm not going to wrap it horizontally. I want it to have a little bit of give, especially on those thicker areas, so I can pull it a little bit tighter. Also, the ribbon I chose, it does have a little bit of glitter to it, so it does leave glitter on the hands and sometimes on the face if you have little ones that then will touch their face. But I couldn't resist the sparkle of it. So you're going to want to cut your ribbon according to your stem. Like you said, here's my little sample stem. Cut it a little bit longer, because you are going to want to wrap those sharp points. So cut it just a little bit longer, giving you room to make sure that you can wrap and secure that extra point. So I've already done this, and then what I'm going to do in order to secure it, so then, like I said, you're going to take, this is going to be the bouquet. Remember, this is the side that has the buttons on it, and you're going to place some glue on one section of the ribbon, roughly about 2 inches, just to get it started so that you can secure the stem. So I'm going to glue that 2 sections just to get it started. And now you have to imagine that your bouquet, it's going to be a lot thicker than this little practice wire, but it's all I had to work with since my bouquets have already been wrapped and used. Once you have that part glued, and like I said, there's going to be a lot of glue, so make sure that you pull all the extra parts as you can. Let it dry. The next thing that you're going to do is make sure that you have it, wrap it lightly, because then you have to put it into your holder. So you want to make sure that you glue it first, that way the top part's going to be secure, and then slip it down into your holder. Like I said, just quickly wrap it and push it in. So like I said, it's going to be like this, but it is going to be unfinished. It's still not glued. Depending on if your holder has prongs on it, you can either have it glued over the prongs if you don't want to see it. I have both examples. So here's one where the prongs are actually visible, and then I just glued it with hot glue around it, holding the prongs into place. Or you can actually glue over the prongs if you don't want to see it. It also makes a difference with how thick that you're going to have your stem. So with one of them, I didn't have an option. I had to add an extra layer of ribbon, so I had to hide the prongs. So it's your choice, whatever preference you prefer. Like I said, just hot gluing it in place will hold it in place. Now once you have that, either way, either you putting it in and gluing it over the prongs or not, you're just going to take the hot glue gun and just continue to add glue. Like I said, this is harder when it's a littler stem than an actual size stem. Glue it all the way down right until the base. You do not want to go past the base, because remember, we're going to fold that over. So you're going to wrap it. Like I said, for this purposes, I can just fold it. But you'll wrap it around, stretching it if necessary, and then making sure you have a very tight seam. And like I said, the end is going to be cut open still. It has not been glued, so you can see those are those very sharp points. Now I left this a little too big, so I'm going to have to trim it a little. You only want roughly maybe 1.5 inches of extra. So I'm going to give a little extra just to be on the safe side. Now the way to secure this so that you can fold it over and have that seam is I actually am going to cut the wire. Remember, I'm using wired ribbon. You can use unwired. You can even wrap it horizontally if you don't like the vertical approach. I just like to smooth one seam down the side. I hope that everyone can see there's just one seam. Let me get the wire cutters too. I can't get my old scissors to go through. So once you break that wire, like I said, it's not that thick, but my old scissors are not doing it. You're going to want to, and I just cut that too much, but just cut it so it's almost like a T. So you want the ribbon to kind of resemble a T shape. So if you look at it, it kind of looks like a T. And like I said, don't mind my very messy edges. I had bad scissors. I couldn't find better ones. So there's the edge. Once again, glue becomes your friend. Add some glue. And then, like I said, yours will be neater because you'll actually be doing this on your real bouquet. You're going to fold it over and then wrap those edges around. So securing one, like I said, watch out for that hot glue, and then securing the other. And if you do a better job and make sure that you don't have a messy T, that'll give you a nice clean fold. And in my case, I can still fix this. It's still able to be fixed. You would just put a little bit of glue in there and then seal it closed. Like I said, you can tell too, I chose the glitter kind. There's glitter all over. It does make a mess. I also want to give another big thank you to buttonlovers.com.